Okay, so here we are. Get rid of that. And we're on number 9. The measure of the vertex angle in an isosceles triangle. Okay, so let's just pause right there. Who can tell me what is true about an isosceles triangle? It can be a long pointy one. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but when you think of it that way, what else can you tell me about it? Hence the long pointy triangle. What's true about the sides of an isosceles triangle? Anybody? I'm going to go tell Miss Jones in just a minute. Do y'all have Miss Jones? Not necessarily. It could be. What? The links are what? That would make it scalene. Okay, look. Here we go. Find a blank spot somewhere on here to write this, okay? If I have, because these are things we need to know, and I don't know if this is actually, here's the beautiful thing about labeling. Once I label it, it really doesn't matter if they look right or not. If I have 3 different sides, this is called scalene. All 3 sides are different, okay? These are terms that really may come up on the SAT, TSI, I don't know, Jeopardy if you're ever on there. Then we have, what if all 3 sides are congruent? What do we call that? Equilateral. There we go. Equilateral. Oops. Lateral. Lateral meaning sides, right? Okay, so then we have isosceles. I-S-O-S-C-E-L-E-S. Isosceles. And the actual definition, okay, let's get a little deep into geometry real quick. The actual definition of an isosceles triangle is not that we have 2 sides congruent. It's at least 2 sides congruent, which means equilateral triangle is an isosceles triangle, but the best name is equilateral. Does that make sense to you? Okay, so in addition to that, we have angles. If I have a scalene triangle and all 3 sides are different, all 3 angles are also different. Okay? In an equilateral triangle, since all 3 sides are congruent, all 3 angles are congruent. It's also equiangular. Okay? For isosceles that's not equilateral, we have 2 congruent sides, we have 2 congruent angles, and the congruent angles are across from the congruent sides, like so. And then that one up there would be different. Okay? In a triangle, we have 3 sides, we have 3 angles, we have 3 vertices, right? We know that's where the line segments come together. And so in these first 2, the vertices are just vertices. But this right here, in isosceles, this is called the vertex, like not just a vertex, it's the vertex of the triangle itself, which means this is the vertex angle. Okay? Because that's what this question talks about, and it's a TSIA kind of question. And so vertex angle, that means it's the one that's different than the other 2. And then these 2 angles are called the base angles, if that comes up at all. Oh my gosh, my handwriting is so bad. Base angles. All right, so those are little things about triangles that we need to know. That's actually like junior high information. Honestly, that's not new when you get to high school, I'm just going to say. All right, any questions at all? Does all that make sense? Okay, I know. Y'all are the future of America. Okay. It's okay. We're going to be fine. All right, so we're here. So now it says, the measure of the vertex angle, now we know what that means. In an isosceles triangle, now we know what that means, is 6 less than 4 times the measure of a base angle. Okay? So I'm going to use V for vertex and B for base. That makes sense to you? All right. So the vertex angle in an isosceles triangle, vertex angle is, so the vertex angle is 6 less. So what do I do with that? Subtract 6, right? 6 less than 4 times the measure of one of the base angles, so 4 times B. All right, now I have 2 variables. I need more than one equation. I'm going to ask another question, and please don't make me cry. How many degrees are in a triangle? Yes, thank you, 180. Yay. Did we actually all know that? Yes? Okay, good. You were just afraid to say it because I said, please don't make me cry. All right, so let's jump back here real quick. So in an equilateral triangle, each one of these angles is what? How many degrees? 60. Good, so this would be 60. Okay. And they'd all be the same. Now, and that's the only one that I can tell you exactly what the angle is. But what I do know is the vertex plus the base angle plus another base angle has to give me 180. How many base angles do we have? 2. Okay. So when I'm over here, I have my other equation is going to be the vertex angle plus 2 of the base angles has to equal what? 180. Good job. Okay. You see how that works? All right. Then this one just says find the measure of the vertex angle. Even though we only have to find one of them, sometimes it's easier in what we're doing to find the base angle first. So don't like force yourself to try and find the vertex first, because sometimes you'll just make it way more complicated. So because I have these, I have 2 equations and 2 variables. I'm going to use the systems of equation. We'll use substitution, right? V equals this. So we're going to put that in right there where V is. And we get 4B minus 6 plus 2B equals 180. Sorry, should be consistent with my capital B. That's a B. So are y'all okay if I combine and move the 6 in the same step? Okay, I'm trying to figure, I'm still not sure. I just still don't really know my audience, so I don't want to lose anybody. So 6B equals 186. Then I'm going to make you do the math, and you tell me what B equals. 30? Did you say 30? Oh, 31. The 31? Sure about that? This is 31. Just checking. Because 6 times 30 is 180, and 6 times 1 is 6. So 31. Good job. All right, we good? Now, did we care about that? No. We're looking for V, right? So when I go to find V, which one do you want to substitute this back into? The first one or the second one? The first one, okay. So V, and if you choose the second one, go ahead and substitute in the second. It doesn't matter either way. Substitute in the second one. Let's see if we get the same thing. 4 times B, which is 31, minus 6. So remember, multiplying by 4, I double it and double it again. 31 times 2 is 62. I double 62 and I get what? 124? 124 minus 6? Yes? Yeah, that's right. And then that means that V is equal to 118 degrees. And if I substitute it into the other one, like some of you may choose the second one because you don't want to have to multiply 31 by 4, but you don't mind multiplying it by 2. That's totally fine. You get the same answer, no big deal. You don't have to use one or the other. What questions we got? Okay, so we briefly talked about consecutive integers and consecutive odd integers the other day when we did that one question. And I know we've all done one question, but get a marker again so that you don't feel threatened. And I want you to try and set up an equation for number 10. I'm going to give you a minute to think about it. Yes. Oh my gosh, really? You're going to miss all the fun. Oh my God. Okay, come on. Oh, I'm clicking on the wrong thing. Okay. Let's see, we are in 6th period. I've got first names down, working on last names. Okay, here we go. Okay, 1 second. Brianna's making us stop and pay attention to her. Okay, it is 1:13. All right, what's your question, hon? Okay, that's fine. I'm going to talk about it. I just wanted to see if anybody kind of remembered what was happening there. Okay, hey, that's something. All right, so here's what we can do. We can make it 3 variables, but we don't have to, okay? If I have 4 consecutive integers, I have no idea where we're starting. But remember, consecutive means one right after another. 1, 2, 3, 4 is 4 consecutive integers. We good with that? Okay, so I'm going to say my first integer is going to be x. Okay? So then what do I do to x to get my next one? Add 1. So x plus, and I'm going to put it in parentheses because there's going to be so much stuff, x plus 1. So now I have added 2 consecutive integers. So the next integer should be x plus what? 2. And then the next one would be x plus 3. Consecutive integers. We don't know where we're starting, but I know whatever this one is, the next one I have to add 1, and then I add 1 to that, and then I add 1 to that. Does that make sense? Those are consecutive. They're not consecutive, odd, or even. It's just consecutive. Everybody okay with that? The setup here is what the struggle is. It's not the solving. Y'all should, this is a piece of cake, right? And so, and you could, like I said, we could have done x, y, and z, and then said like y is x plus 1, and z is, you can do that, and that's fine. Sometimes I think that just gets to be a little bit much. But everybody okay with this? All right, so then let's solve this real quick. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 x's. So 4x plus, let's see, 6 equals 222. So then I get 4x equals, what'd you forget? You already came back for your phone? Good Lord, you are a mess. What are you looking for? What are you looking for? Oh, there was, like that white paper? I saw it at the beginning of your class. There wasn't a paper on your table when you got here, was it? Somebody else must have taken it. Do you have to, like by accident, or maybe on purpose? I don't know. I'm sorry. Put your ID on. Don't come back without it. Okay. 222 minus 6 would be 2 what? 16. Here's what we do so we don't have to necessarily count on our fingers or go over and borrow. If you have 222 and you want to subtract 6, if you subtract 2, you get to 220, and then you have to subtract 4 more and you get to 216. And breaking it up can kind of help that. Or think in terms of money, that helps as well. All right, so then I need to divide both sides by 4. And tell me what you get. 4 goes into 21 how many times? 5. With 1 left over, so I get a 16. 4 goes into 16 4 times. Okay, so I got x is 54, and I want all 4 integers. Well, remember, we started with our first number was x. So that means my 4 numbers are 54, 55, 56, and 57. Everybody okay with that? By the way, back here on this one, when this one asked for find the measure of the vertex angle, and we found this first just because that's how it worked out nicely, I can pretty much guarantee you if this was a multiple choice question, 31 would be an answer choice, and a lot of people would love it. So make sure on everything you ever do in any class that you are answering the question that's asked and not the question you think they should ask or whatever. Like pay attention, especially when you're zipping through things. Any questions at all? All right. So now we have some, and again, I just want you to try it. I want you to think about what we just did, and I want you to try to write something out. We're going to do the sum, which means we're adding again. 3 consecutive, but this time it says odd integers. See if you can think about how that might have to look different if they're odd integers. Yeah, at least he's trying. Okay, let me ask you this, because you're good. These are odd. But if this is an odd number and I add 1 to it, is it still an odd number? You're on the right track. You got the right idea. Yeah, and at least he's trying. Don't give him a hard time. Good job. Yes. What do we got? You're just making up numbers, or you just do it by guess and check? You just figured out what it was? You're just a genius. Okay, 3 consecutive odd integers. So if I have x, and I'm going to say that's my first odd integer, what do I have to add to that to get to the next odd one? 2. So then this is x plus 2, and then this is x plus 4, right? Because you got to skip 1 to make them odd, and that's equal to 93. And then go forth and solve. Okay. That's what I got. I hope I'm right. Exactly, because like let's say, we have no idea when we start what x is, but it's some odd number like 5. In order for me to get to the next odd number, I have to add 2 to get to 7, and then I'd have to add 4 to get to 9, like that. Yeah, so you just add 2 since it's not straight up consecutive. Okay, everybody good with that? All right. See if you can write out 12. You got to try it. You got to write something down. Get something out of your brain. Okay, so let me ask you this. I'm going to give you kind of a hint, and I'm going to let you keep working. But consecutive integers, 3 consecutive even integers. So just in general, like kind of what we were doing before, the 3 integers would be x. What would the next one be? X, and then x plus, because it's even. If this is 6, to get to the next even, I have to add 2, and then x plus 4. Okay, so those are my, whether it's even or odd, I still have to add 2, right? And then it uses the word median. What does median mean? The middle. Okay, y'all are all of driving age. You may not all have taken driver's ed, but they talk about the medians in the middle of the road, right? So the middle one, this is your middle integer. This is your smallest, your median, your largest, okay? So in this case, I had them like written out like that so I wouldn't do something weird. So maybe that might help you try and write your equation. Then we'll look at it. All right, y'all ready for me to walk you through it? Find 3 consecutive even integers such that the sum of the smallest integer, so that's the smallest integer, and so the sum of that, and twice the median integer. So 2 times the median integer is x plus 2. And are those parentheses important? Yes. The smallest one plus 2 times the middle one is means equals 20 more, so that's going to be a plus 20 somewhere over there. Oh, that's a 2, plus 20. More than the largest integer, which is x plus 4. And you see how to go through that just a piece at a time. The word problems have a ton of words, so you just like read it, get an idea of what's going on, then go back and just do it a piece at a time. Okay, everybody good with that? Questions about why I did what I did? You good? Are you good? You sure? You have a question? Ask me a question. I don't believe you.
Go over it again.
Okay. So it says the sum of, which means I'm adding, right? The smallest integer, which is x, and twice, so I got to multiply 2 times the median integer. This was the median one, so it's 2 times this. Does that part make sense? Is equals 20 more, so I'm adding, than the largest integer. This would have to be the largest, and that's what that is right there. Okay? You okay with that? So like on the other ones, I think when not writing this out probably was no big deal, but to me on this one, I think writing that out helps so that you can pick the right ones where you need them. Okay? We good? All right, then go ahead and work it out. What questions do you have? All good? All right. So then what I want you to do, once you've finished this and you've checked yourself, you still have those 2 word problems on the worksheet, and you may or may not have finished the rest of it, but get those done. You can work with each other on them.